What's going on, Falcons fans? Harrison Graham filling in here on Falcons Today. Is the Kirk Cousins saga almost over? We're going to talk about that as he was not present at OTAs. But first, I want to hear from you guys. You weigh in by liking the video. If you want the Kirk Cousins drama to end, if you want it to go away, if you want the Falcons to just trade him or even cut him, go ahead and like this video because, listen, the focus should be on Michael Penix, the upcoming season, trying to chase the playoffs, not dealing with aging Kirk Cousins, who is not a part of this team's future. But it is a big topic, not only in the NFL, but obviously for the Falcons. And Kirk Cousins did not show up for OTAs, which are voluntary and certainly not a surprise, right? Like, he knows he's not the starter of this football team. He's made it pretty clear that he wants to play elsewhere if there's an opportunity to go start somewhere. Raheem Morris said he was not in the building, and that shouldn't surprise any of us. The question is now is, like, where does this go from here, right? Like, I would expect Cousins to show up to training camp if he's still on the roster because he wants to make a paycheck, and they can find him if he's not there. Technically, they can find him if he skips mandatory minicamp. We'll see if he is present for that. My gut tells me he'll probably show up for that as well, and just to at least avoid the fines. But it just feels like that if he's going to get traded, it could be soon because June 1st is approaching, and once you get past June 1st, his contract becomes more tradable. Maybe the Steelers have some clarity on the Aaron Rodgers situation, and if he doesn't end up going there, maybe they end up trading for Kirk. But I just don't know if keeping him on the roster for this season is the most healthy situation. Like, Michael Penix doesn't need to be hearing all the noise about Kirk Cousins. What if Penix struggles? Do you go back to Cousins? Like, that creates kind of a wonky situation. Now, Myles Simmons of Pro Football Talk said this on Kirk Cousins, quote, Cousins, 36 years old, does hold a no-trade clause, but it stands to reason that he'd like to be elsewhere. He's due $27.5 million in 2025 with the $40 million cap number. If the Falcons trade him after June 1st, they will get significant cap relief. The Falcons reportedly would like a new team to assume $20 million of Cousins' remaining $37.5 million in guarantees through Terry Fontenot. Though Terry Fontenot has denied that a specific number has been applied to the negotiations. But I don't think it takes a genius. They would like a team to eat some of that money. Talking about the cash flow. They can't have a team eat some of the cap hit number. The cap hit numbers are locked in. Pre-June 1, post-June 1, those don't change. But these owners care about the cash flow. Like, they gave Kirk Cousins a ton of money. If they're going to trade him, Arthur Blank is going to inform the GM, hey, I would like to avoid paying this much money if at all possible. And look, the Falcons can only blame themselves for this situation because they gave Kirk Cousins 4 years, I think it was $160, $180 million, and then they drafted Michael Penix 6 weeks later. Like, the second they drafted Michael Penix, the situation got weird. Kirk Cousins admitted he did not see it coming, and the second he struggled, the chatter started to begin. Let's go to Michael Penix. Let's go to Michael Penix. Then they did go to Michael Penix, and he showed enough good things that he's their guy moving forward. And when you draft the QB in the top 10, he needs to be playing by year 2. So, again, you're just stuck in this spot where you have an aging quarterback who did not look great coming off the Achilles. He's got a bad contract. You've turned to a younger player. You don't really have leverage in any kind of trade discussion. And there's not really a natural fit for Kirk Cousins unless it is the Pittsburgh Steelers. So that's what we will turn to here in just a moment. Does Pittsburgh become the option for Kirk Cousins with the Aaron Rodgers situation still relatively unknown? We'll talk about that coming up here on Falcons Today. But if you want to get yourself a rookie jersey, whether it's Jalen Walker, James Pierce, go to chatsports.com/ATL rookies. Get their jerseys today. Go ahead and pre-order them. Link is in the comments and in the description of this video. Chatsports.com/ATL rookies if you want to represent one of the Falcons rookies right now. Could the Steelers pivot off of Aaron Rodgers? Now, look, it seems pretty clear that they are going to hold out until Aaron Rodgers tells them no. So I don't think that is changing. I think they will give that hell until training camp. But what if Rodgers ultimately is like, you know what, I don't love this option. I'm either going to retire or I'm just going to hang out and maybe another team starter gets injured and I go join that team if I view that a better situation. Maybe there is something to the Vikings still being a possibility. Who knows? Whatever the reason is, Pittsburgh is not going to balk at Rodgers until he tells them no. But let's say he does tell them no. Does Pittsburgh pivot to Kirk Cousins or do they roll with Mason Rudolph? I think Cousins is a fairly diminished player, but I would take him over Mason Rudolph in a heartbeat. So I do think that would become a realistic trade partner for Atlanta if the Rodgers situation did not work out for Pittsburgh. Jeremy Fowler had this to say about Kirk Cousins. I had some conversations with people this week that led me to believe that Cousins is at the very least, on the Steelers' radar if something were to fall through on Rodgers. Cousins has $37.5 million in guarantees between this year and next year. Somebody's on the hook for that money, whether it's $4 million, $20 million, whatever it is. But the feeling around the league is that Atlanta has not been willing to budge on this. They haven't shown a lot of interest in trading Cousins. It would take a hefty price tag for another team to wiggle that out. I think Atlanta is just trying to leak it to the media that, oh, yeah, we like Cousins. We're comfortable with this situation because they want a potential suitor to take on more of the cash flow. Again, this is all a running a business game at this point because Atlanta knows Cousins isn't the answer. They know he's not their guy. Sure, he'd be a good backup, but he's a $40 million backup. They don't want that. If the Steelers get desperate, that's good for Atlanta because they're in a pivotal year. Mike Tomlin is hearing the heat of can't win a playoff game. You really going to roll into week one with Mason Rudolph and Will Howard? I don't think so. So if Kirk Cousins would sign off on that deal and if Aaron Rodgers isn't the Steelers' answer, then I do think there's a 50-50 or better chance that Atlanta would end up trading Kirk Cousins to the Steelers. Now, what would the cap numbers look like if they did that? If they could trade Cousins post-June 1, which is coming up, they would only carry a $12.5 million dead cap hit this year, which is a more than reasonable number for the Falcons to carry, and they would save almost $28 million. So who knows? Could that open the door to make some kind of splash and bring in another high-caliber player? Who knows? But more importantly, they could unload Cousins and his contract and just wipe the slate clean. Hey, Michael Penix, full steam ahead. Let's go. To me, that's the goal if you're Atlanta. Let's put all of our energy into Michael Penix and not worry about this Kirk Cousins situation. So here's a trade idea. I know PD threw this out there, and I'll kind of reiterate it. I think it's fair. Conditional fifth-round pick turns into a third if maybe the Steelers make the playoffs or if he reaches certain statistical benchmarks. But I think that's more than fair considering the contract that Cousins carries. I don't think Atlanta should expect to get much more. Again, the goal would be to unload the contract to another team, regardless of what you're getting in return. Now, let's say a trade's not there and it just gets weird and training camp's almost here and you just don't want this storyline around your team. Maybe you just cut him, right? Now, if you cut Cousins post-June 1, the $40 million cap hit turns into $50 for this year, $25 next year. So not great, right? But it's already $40 right now and your roster's mostly set. What's $10 more million? And then it drops to $25 next year. Again, not ideal, but considering the contract you gave him, it wouldn't be the worst situation ever. And if it just got to a point where, you're not happy with the storylines around it, Cousins clearly doesn't want to be there, is $10 million really worth quibbling about on your cap hit situation? They'd have to maybe move a little money around to absorb that extra $10 million, but at some point, something's got to give. I think keeping Cousins on the roster for week 1 would just cause unnecessary problems. So, again, we'll see where it goes. We'll see if a trade opens up. Who knows? Maybe there's an injury between now or in the middle of training camp for another team that's not looking to punt on this year, and they would bring in Kirk Cousins. So unforeseen things happen all the time in the NFL, but keep an eye on Aaron Rodgers in Pittsburgh because if that situation goes south, maybe Kirk Cousins is the answer. Will Kirk Cousins be on the Falcons roster come week 1? Type Y for yes, he will. Type N for no, he won't. Something tells me he won't be. I think they will move off of him, whether it's trade or cut, between now and September. Got a long way to go. Don't have to force the issue now, but I think that would be best for everyone involved. That's going to do it for today's episode of Falcons Today. We'll be back soon with another episode as OTAs roll along. My name is Harrison Graham. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you next time.